the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty Father, please provide guidance to all of us up here on the dais that we make good decisions for our citizens. And please keep out of harm's way all of our men and women serving all over this great country of ours, and then those outside of this country, that they're safe and you take them home safe. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Councilman Pizzillo. As we look on the dais, we are missing Councilman Loretano, so I need a motion and a second to excuse her from tonight's meetings. I heard a motion from Vice Mayor Pizzillo and a second from Councilman Osborne. Why do I hesitate? So all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it for excusing Councilman Loretano. Let's go to communications. We have two communication items tonight. The first one is to recognition of the 10-year anniversary of the original Little League Committee. And David Side, Recreation Supervisor, to present. David?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to present tonight's communication item regarding 10 years of Goodyear Little League. I prepared a few slides today to kind of go over where we came from, where we're at, prior to going ahead and giving out the plaques of appreciation. And I'll kind of start off with a little bit of the program. Goodyear Little League is our largest program. We have over 600 boys and girls participating in Little League baseball, softball, and the Challenger Division. We are the largest Little League organization in District 2 of the state of Arizona. So we have a large program here, very well attended, and has a number of participants in it. A few of the brief points you can see up there develops a bunch of things with regard to the players: sportsmanship, teamwork, respect for the game, commitment to being part of a team and working together, as well as overall skill development, balance, coordination, and those type of things. So we take the very young, skilled players who may start off with T-ball, and we go all the way up to the junior division, which is the beginning of the high school. As far as the coaches, what they're able to give back, they can volunteer, supporting their community, mentoring these young children. Many of our coaches have played, whether it be in high school or college before, and they're able to pass on and strengthen their neighborhood and community by giving back and engaging in the program. And really that's just kind of summed up building community and definitely bringing folks together. Where we've come and where we are. There's a couple bullet points here. You can see back in 2005, we've started off with 4 divisions, approximately 25 teams with 220 participants. Fast forward 10 years today, we're well on our way to doubling all of those bullet points, if not already doubling them already. And we've really seen a tremendous growth in the program. People like the program. They return to the program. They recommend the program. And that's not just me saying it. We see that in our satisfaction surveys as well. So you can see it's come a long way in 10 years, and we're excited about the next 10 years. The way it impacts the community, we do partner with other neighboring cities, Avondale and Litchfield Park, for our girls softball portion of Little League. We also partner with some heavy hitter Major League Baseball names up there, the Diamondbacks, the Indians, the Reds. We're really in a unique situation here where we have access to those organizations, and they definitely give back to the community. They support our opening days, they support some of the fundraising efforts, and they really are there to help us and guide us in our program. A couple of the most recent sponsors are on the bottom left there, just to name a couple: Land of Frost, AAA, Yogurtini, some of the local and area businesses that give back to the program. One thing I did want to mention on the right-hand side there, this year at the Little League Day at Goodyear Ballpark, just an innocent snapshot there of one of our participants who was out there on the Field of Dreams program, where a child goes to each position player, gets an autographed baseball prior to the game. This participant is in our Challenger Division, and you can see how social media just really hit home with people. We're connecting with folks. 22,000 likes, it blew up like within hours. So that's a way to give some recognition to our city, our program, and just kind of validates a lot of the efforts that we do, bringing people together, bringing them out there, and just taking advantage of some of the assets we have in the community. Future of Little League. Satisfaction surveys, we're hovering right around 90%, rate us above average or excellent. We obviously strive for 100%. That's difficult. We have some room to go, but I think all in all, we have a very quality program. Another tidbit there you can see, 81% of our participants made friendships that will continue during the season and then will follow after the season. So when we align with our goals of strengthening communities, building communities, that really aligns with it and hits home that it's bringing neighbors together, whether it be at practice, games, volunteering in the concession stand, those type of things. So we're really proud of that effort. One challenge we have, we are nearing maximum field capacity. As we grow the program, our facilities get used more and more, and we have to get as creative as possible to make sure that we can meet the competing needs of our program, the public, practices, games, and so forth. And you'll hear a little bit more on that tonight, a little bit later in the agenda from Mr. Torres in our master plan update. So, lastly, what I'd like to do now is formally recognize the original board members. We do have several of them with us here tonight. And as I call them up to be recognized, please come up to the podium and I'll issue your plaque. And I ask you to stay up here so we can get a picture in front of the council when we conclude. So starting with the original officers, President Mark Vanderwerf. Vice President Chuck Miles. Secretary Lisa Phoebus. Treasurer Larry Grobat. Safety Officer Tony DeMaio. Paul Anderson. Sue Linney.
She's out of the country. She's out of the country.
Georgia Lord.
Well, I'll stay up here right now, but, okay? I'll come down in a minute. I'll come down in a minute.
And then we have Chiyoko Miles. Mike Pettit. And Sam Phoebus.
Well, the reason I asked to wait for a moment, because it was interesting when I decided that I said I'd like to honor you for this 10-year, for what the service you've had for our children. And if you remember, Sue Linney was the council person then, and I think I had been elected but not sworn in around that time frame. So Sue came to me and said, you know, you really like sports. Why don't you come with me and we'll meet with the Little League representative and see if we can get Little League started in our city. So we were kind of giggling about this because as staff was checking into this, said, but we don't see your name was on the board. And I said, but I'm coming anyway. I was part of this. We used to meet at the Hoot Now.
That's right.
And have meetings there. And it just grew. And Chiyoko, it's so good to see you because I remember you specifically working so hard on this along with Mark and the rest of you. So anyway, it was important to me that you be recognized. So now I'll come down and get my plaque. And I interrupted you, David, so if you have something.
Fine.
But that's what the mayor does. You tell me all the time. That's fine. Okay, thanks.
All right. We'll go up here for photo one.
I should have told you. Down here a little bit more, so we bring Carol in, if you come around this corner.
say one thing?
You want Sherilyn to come down here? Sherilyn, come around here. That way she shows up between. And we get everybody in between. So you've got it. How's that? Turn sideways, everybody, like this. Okay, there you go. Things that we had to do so much. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mark. Thank you. All right, any comments council would like to make? I'm sorry, I just kind of pushed you in there. All set? Okay, now is the time for citizens who would like to address the city council. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Southwest Valley. No, it's okay. Just went ahead. Our next communication item is an update on the Southwest Lending Closet activities and a plaque presentation. And Rose Schmidt with the Southwest Lending Closet will give us an update. Okay, I'm not sure who's...
Good evening.
First of all, let me start off by apologizing to skip over you because I know how important you are to all of us here in our city, and our vice mayor tells me that often, the good things that the Lending Closet does, so I don't want to take anything away from that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good evening again. My name is Rose Schmidt. I'm a volunteer at the Southwest Lending Closet. 3 years ago, we moved into our present location at 218 North Central Avenue in Avondale. It was built as a Tasty Freeze in the late 60s, and it was closed down, shuttered for many years, and then it was turned into the Adobe Funeral Home. And for whatever reason, they closed off the drive-through. Don't get that. Anyway, so they, several years after they closed, we purchased the building. And through many hours of many hands and a lot of hard work, you'll see what it turned into this evening. And none of this would have come to pass if not for the love and devotion of a very wonderful person that you all know, Glo O'Donnell.
That's right.
She saw the need for it, and she went ahead and started it. And we started out in 2000 with 14 pieces of equipment. At present, we have just under 1,400 pieces. So we are an all-volunteer organization. We are proud to boast that we have 64 volunteers. And we have a gentleman who is a private contractor come in and do our sanitation for us. And it works very well. At times during our peak months, which is our winter, we were bare to the walls on certain things, such as wheelchairs, companion chairs, bath transfer benches, and our knee scooters, which is, you'll see them in our film. They're our wonderful addition. This year-to-date numbers, we have serviced 591 clients. That includes 864 items. That is a culmination of both the outgoing and the incoming from the last few months of last year. And we want to thank Goodyear for all of your support and all of your help and in believing in us. And now, you'll see what we're about. Hi, my name is Rose Schmidt. I'm a volunteer here at the Southwest Lending Closet, and I'm welcoming you to a little tour of our organization today. And we're going to show you the highlights of what we do, and we appreciate your attention. So this is our reception area. Here, we help our clients fill out a sheet, which is only a one sheet, and it lists all the items that the client is borrowing. And it's paperwork, basically paperwork. But we have our lovely awards up here, and our stars of the year, and clients that have been very generous to us in the past. Come on with me. Over here is our heart and soul. It is who we are. It is our inventory, our equipment room. And we have many, many items that are in constant need. Our wheelchairs, our companion chairs, and our knee scooters that are kind of a new item to durable medical equipment, but they are well used and well appreciated. This is our office area. In here, our volunteers input into the computer everything that has been taken out by clients and has been returned. In here, a volunteer also writes letters to our clients that have missed their due date. And we also call our clients to remind them of the due date. And so this is data input, important everywhere. This is our repair and overflow room. Here we'll get items that either have been loaned out and have come back somewhat damaged, and our volunteers will go ahead and may repair them. We have extra parts for a lot of our equipment, and naturally the overflow is for things that we do not have room for on our inventory room floor. These items have been donated by people that have used the closet in the past and they like to pay it forward. So we take items in, we make sure that they are going to be usable, and they have to meet our standards. So then if something is not, we will take it apart and use the parts to fix other equipment. This is our sanitation room, where a private contractor comes and cleans all of our equipment, rinses it, dries it, and puts it back out on the floor for another client to use. We're going to look at the biggest challenge for 2014 for the Southwest Lending Closet. It's our parking lot. As you can see, there are areas that are no longer paved. We have big chunks of asphalt, loose asphalt, and gravel. It is not only an eyesore, it is not safe for our clients, nor our volunteers, nor the people of the area that do come along and use our property as a shortcut, which is fine, but it's not safe. So follow me now, we'll go take a look at the front of the building. This is our client's first perception of who we are. It has been made more welcoming by the plants that were planted, not only purchased, but planted by a volunteer. And she and her husband then painted our flower boxes the bright orange, which we use when we're giving directions to clients on the phone. It proves very useful. Thank you so very much for your time and attention. We appreciate it. We appreciate it so very much. And now I'd like to present the council with a plaque of our thanks.
Great. Would you like the council to come down there?
Sure.
All right, council. Everybody up. Joe? Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Sherilyn, can you go down there? Yeah.
Sorry.
I want to go by someone that's short.
There you go.
Joanne has on her 4-inch heels.
So you can't see the picture, that pretty, the bunny ears I'm going over here.
That's it? Oh.
You're not scrunching enough.
There we go.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let the council talk a little bit when we get back up there because a lot of them work there and they see so much.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Take anything else, then forget it. I could totally understand that.
Rose, thank you so much. And I'm going to take a moment to, if any council wants comments, because I know Vice Mayor Pizzillo works there. Cheryl Lynn has worked there and worked there for...
I'm currently
Oh, you're current president. Well, so I really want you, because I just happen to wear the one that got the plaque handed to him tonight, but this really belongs to you, the hard workers, and then the city, of course, for giving, helping with it. Okay, go ahead, Cheryl Lynn.
Well, thank you, and I just want to say we have we have been in existence since the year 2000. I'm sure you caught that in the presentation, but it is still an all-volunteer run organization, and they are an amazing group of people that provide this service. I worked on Saturday. Once I retired, I started working regularly in the closet, and we have served over 1,400 individuals this year. And that is we work 6 days a week, 3 hours a day, so that's 18 hours a week. We have an amazing need as insurance companies, and Social Security has reduced the durable medical that they will provide to people in need. And so you have no idea how much the support from the City of Goodyear has meant to us over the years, in that it's all donations that we run on. And so I'm not saying this because I'm on council. I'm just saying it's something that is unique to our community, that we have this lending of durable medical equipment. We lend it for 90 days. And I know I'm running on, but
No, it's all right.
I do get a bit emotional about this because I'm in there and I'm hearing the stories of the need and how much it has meant to people when they are so scared and don't know where to turn. They know they can come and you're not going to charge. It's just an amazing experience. I'm sure I get much more out of it than I'm giving. So thank you to the City of Goodyear and the citizens of Goodyear for recognizing the importance of this in our community.
Thank you for your very, very nice words. Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
I kind of echo what Councilmember Sherilyn just said, but again, the key is it's free. You know, they're not asking you for whether you can pay or not. It's free, and there's thousands of people they have served over the time for the whole West, and a lot of Goodyear residents go there. So for those individuals that, insurance doesn't cover, or they can't get a hold of the equipment they need, they come to the lending closet. And like I say, was it Chloe O'Donnell? O'Donnell who set that up to her vision and where it's gone to right now. And again, the stress, it's all volunteer. There are no paid staff for that entire, board members, volunteers, it's all volunteer. So again, I think it's a great service that the closet does and serves on the west side here. And again, thank you, Rose, because you are a big part of it.
Any other? Yes. Councilman Campbell?
Well, Chloe O'Donnell is a personal friend of mine, and I hear from her at Christmas time every year, and I write her back immediately to let her know that Care Bears is still in operation, and so is her Southwest Lending Closet. But she started this when she saw that there were folks in the community that did not have anywhere to go to access and get the durable medical equipment. We have such an organization in Pebble Creek, but we only loan to Pebble Creek residents, and it's all volunteer as well. And I can remember Glow coming before our council all the time and reporting on how the Southwest linen closet was getting bigger and better, and we used to laugh because we'd see her in the audience and we knew she was going to come up and talk about the Southwest Linen Closet. But it's such a wonderful community resource, and we do thank you. We thank the volunteers that donate their time and efforts on behalf of all of the residents of Goodyear and Avondale so that they can use this equipment.
Thank you. All right, once more, thank you from the council. All right, now we'll get back to where I talked about before. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the city council on any non-agenda items. Are there any cards?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address? Okay. Let's go on to consent agenda under number 6. Will the city clerk please read consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.4 by title only, please?
Item 6.1, approve draft minutes from a regular meeting held on June 23, 2014. Item 6.2, accept the dedication of a quitclaim deed for a portion of Elwood Road located in the El Cedro development. Item 6.3, adopt Resolution 14-1647, adopting the Goodyear ULI AZ TAP report dated May 2014 and providing for an effective date. Item 6.4, adopt Resolution 14-1655, approving and authorizing city manager to execute the Second Amendment to Northern Solution Water Facilities Agreement relating to the development of water resources and infrastructure to provide water service to Estrella, authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement, authorizing city manager to take all actions and execute all documents necessary to carry out intent of resolution and terms of the agreement and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Does anyone from the council wish to remove an item? All right, then could I please have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Stipp and a second by Councilman Holman. It was you.
I'm right here.
You're right there. Councilman Osborne made the second. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Oh, wait a minute. Is there any discussion at all? Did everybody, any discussion from this at all? Okay, I want to make sure I said that. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Holman? Aye. Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
All right, we're on to business. Item 7.1 is to consider a liquor license application for Native Grill and Wings. And Maureen Scott, our city clerk, will present.
Good evening, Mayor Lord and council members. This item before you is for a Series 12 liquor license for Native Grill and Wings, and it's generally located at the southeast corner of McDowell Road and Pebble Creek Parkway in the Goodyear Center Point Shopping Center. A Series 12 license is for a restaurant and it's not non-transferable. It allows the holder of the license to sell and serve all types of spirituous liquor solely for consumption on the premises of the establishment, and it derives at least 40% of its gross revenue from the sale of food. Native Grill and Wings is affiliated with the Native New Yorker restaurant chain, and in 2014, Native New Yorker officially shortened its name to Native Grill and Wings, and it updated their logo. They are in the process of converting all of their restaurants to the new name, and this restaurant is a franchise, and there are approximately 25 locations within the state of Arizona. The Native New Yorker formerly operated a restaurant in Goodyear located at 530 North Estrella Parkway, and this location closed on August 5th, 2013. The new Native Grill and Wings will be located in a newly constructed building, and they plan to open in October 15th of this year. And there are no licensed child care facilities within 300 feet of the location, and the applicant is available for any questions, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? All right, could I please have a motion and a second to approve the request from Amy Nations, agent and applicant for the West Side Wings LLC, doing business as Native Grill and Wings for a Series 12 liquor license number 120799921, located at 15375 West McDowell Road, Goodyear, Arizona. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I heard a motion from Councilman Holman and a second from Councilman Campbell. Open for council discussion. Councilman Stipp.
You know, I think it's
typical when, I assume the applicant is here? Just want to say welcome, thank you for choosing to keep your business in Goodyear, and we wish you the best of luck. Thanks.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
You already answered my question. October, was it 15th? They
Correct.
did open? And again, welcome to the city. Looking forward to stopping in myself.
Councilman Campbell?
My question is this the same proprietor that had the other location, or is this a different franchisee?
I believe it's a different franchisee.
So we've lost those folks? Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I think from the entire council, welcome. So it's nice to have you in that location, and I think our citizens will love having wings. All right, so the discussion is finished. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Homan?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Next item, 7.2, is to consider a liquor license application for Winco Foods. Did you all hear that? Winco's coming, okay? Winco Foods. City Clerk will present.
This liquor license is for a Series 9 location transfer for Winco Foods LLC, and they're planning to locate at the southwest corner of McDowell Road and Pebble Creek Parkway, just north of I-10. A Series 9 license is a quota license, and they're only available through the Arizona Liquor License Lottery or for purchase on the open market. And once it's issued, this liquor license is transferable from person to person and/or location to location within the same county. It allows a spirituous liquor store or retailer to sell all types of spirituous liquor, only in the original unbroken package, to be taken away from the premises of the retailer and consumed off the premises. This license is currently inactive and is a transfer from a location in Glendale, which is the same, of course, it's also in Maricopa County. The applicant intends to keep the license inactive until the property is constructed and the store is ready to open. And Winco is requesting a liquor license now because if they wait to submit a liquor license application until closer to the time the store opens, and a church or school moves within 300 feet of the location, they would statutorily be barred from holding a liquor license at that location. And so it's common practice for grocery store retailers to get a liquor license issued early to ensure that they will be able to open and sell alcohol at their store. Winco Foods is not a franchise, but it's a grocery store chain, and it has approximately 98 liquor licenses in 8 states, and they have 8 locations in Arizona. And they do plan to open the new location September of 2015. And there are no licensed child care facilities within 300 feet of the location, and the applicant is available for any questions you may have. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Maureen. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? All right, could I please have a motion and a second to approve the request from Nicholas Gutierrez?
Gutia?
Gutierrez, thank you. An agent and applicant representing Winco Foods LLC for Series 9 location transfer liquor license, number 090780000, located at 15535 West McDowell Road, Goodyear, Arizona. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Campbell and a second by Councilman Stipp. Open for council discussion. No discussion. Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Is the applicant here?
You should be.
Nicholas Catilla, the attorney in the
Thank you, Gutilla.
All right.
That's fine.
All right, Mr. Gutilla.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I
so
could have
am.
called you just Nicholas. That was my brother's name, and so it's, I'm very familiar with that one.
First of all, welcome to the city. I know there's a lot of people that are looking forward to you opening. Looks good for September of 15?
September, October.
September, October 15? Again, welcome aboard, and I'm sure you'll do great things there at that location.
Yeah, we're looking for, we've heard a lot of very positive things about your store, so I think we're all awaiting it. So,
With bated breath, good.
so thank you for choosing Goodyear. We appreciate it. All right. So could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Holman?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Pizzolo?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne? Aye. Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. We'll give you a moment to get back to your chair. The next item on business is 7.3, to consider a job creation agreement related to the location and operation of Cookson Door in the city of Goodyear. So Harry Paxton to present. He's our project manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm very pleased to come before you tonight to talk about Cookson Door and the proposed job creation agreement that we are presenting tonight. Cookson Door is a leader in the commercial rolling door industry. In fact, 5 years ago, when they merged with Cornell Iron Works, they became the largest, along with Cornell Iron Works, the largest leader in the industry for commercial doors. And so we're very fortunate to have them planning and actually are already under construction with their largest location here in the western part of the U.S. Cookson chose to locate in the city's oldest commercial corridor on South Litchfield Road across from the Lockheed Martin campus. It will help revitalize that area and the jobs that they bring to that area, especially given the announcement that Lockheed is reducing and actually eliminating most of their operations here in Goodyear. Manufacturing companies, as you know, is part of our target list and part of your target list, and so Cookson Door certainly fits that bill. They are a manufacturing company in addition to the manufacturing jobs that they provide. Since this is their western operations, they'll also have engineering jobs here, and they'll have management support as well as even some executives supporting their operations here in the western U.S. See if I have a presentation, maybe not. Well, maybe they didn't load that up, but I'll go ahead. As I mentioned, Cookson identified Goodyear in the location on South Litchfield Road about 2 years ago, and so they're under construction now with a 160,000 square foot manufacturing facility. In the spring of 2012, we proposed to them a foreign trade zone and also benefits for development processing, expedited processing up to 150,000. Of course, all that's subject to City Council approval. Cookson has a facility currently operating in the Phoenix area and was looking for a larger location because of their expansion, and has decided to locate that here in Goodyear. One of the great things about this development as well is it marks the first major employment development with new construction along this corridor north of MC 85 since the late 1990s when Hangar 52 was expanded. I don't know if they have the presentation.
I think somebody went back and,
Trying to find it.
yeah, trying to find what happened to it.
Well, one of the things that presentation has is the exact location, which is directly across from the Lockheed Martin campus today. One of the great things that this development brings to the community is it also moves us forward in bringing more shovel-ready sites to the community. So a developer out of Chicago, Clarius Partners, developed this project and was required in order to sell the property to Cookson Doors and for new development to happen along that corridor to bring a water line north of MC 85 all the way up Litchfield Road to Yuma Road. And so that also brings another 61 acres. 15 of those acres will be used by Cookson Door, brings 61 acres into shovel-ready status, which really helps us. So the job creation agreement that we're proposing tonight is for a term of 7 years. They will agree to hire at least 60 net new employees and bring 140 employees from their current operations and have an annual average of 150 employees over a 3-year term of this agreement. They'll make a minimum capital investment of $12,500,000 in the building and the property during the term of the agreement. The City of Goodyear agrees, as I mentioned earlier, to $150,000 in waiving or reimbursing, in this case reimbursing, expedited fees related to the Cookson Door facility, and then also support for the foreign trading zone, the user-driven foreign trade zone site, which is just that site where their building's at. And of course, the company acknowledges that the city makes no guarantee on their ultimate activation because that's their responsibility to activate the foreign trade zone. And then, of course, the funds to obtain that activation is not part of the city's contract as well. In addition, some other benefits that this brings to the city, over the period of 5 years, they expect to hire or bring 265 jobs to the community. And those jobs actually are pretty good paying jobs, as one of our targets. Obviously, manufacturing companies pay better. Those, they expect to average over that 5-year period over $49,000, combined average of all those jobs. ESI Corporation estimates that Cookson's operations in Goodyear will total more than $284 million in total economic impact over the next 5 years. Additional benefits is, since this is the western operations for the company, Cornell Iron Works will be sending several employees here for training and upgrading of skills to the Cookson Door Company. And that, of course, will bring many hotel room nights to the community. One of the things that we're requiring that they do as well is to have 80% of those room nights used in our community, and so contracting with our hotels. And I had mentioned earlier about the 61 acres that this provides in terms of a shovel-ready site status, which is a huge benefit. We always like to see that when we bring forth agreements to you. It has other regional benefits that will help the city in the future move forward, and definitely puts forward other sites that we are very marketable and competitive with when all the basic infrastructure is in. So that's our, unfortunately, the presentation, I guess, didn't get here, but that's our agreement that we have proposed for Cookson Door. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, and thank you for getting through this when your presentation doesn't appear on the screen, but I think that everybody's, the staff report that we have on our iPads, I think everybody, that covered a great number of those things you were saying, so we'll just go on then at this point. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
All right, would anybody in the audience like to speak? All right, could I have the city clerk please read resolution by title only to adopt Resolution 14-1656, approving, authorizing, and directing the city manager to execute job creation agreement for the Cookson Company, Inc., Cornell Iron Works, Inc., and CIW Enterprises, Inc., authorizing the city staff to take action consistent with terms of resolution and agreement and providing an effective date. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I've heard a motion from Councilman Holman and a second from Councilman Campbell. Open for council discussion. Vice Mayor Pizzillo.
Couple questions, Harry. What is the cost associated with reimbursing the expedited fee?
Yeah, that's up, yeah, Mayor and Vice Mayor. We have contracted with up to $150,000. I believe that is around $73,000, $74,000 today. There could be some other permits that come forward that maybe on an expedited basis to add to that, but I believe the bulk of it is done.
Well, let me ask City Manager, what's the cost associated with it?
Yes, and thank you, Harry. You're exactly right. We're less than $75,000 estimated for the reimbursement, even though the agreement calls for it going up to twice that much. But it's also important to point out, this is this was for the expedited portion of plan review and engineering fees. Anytime that a company wants to expedite fees, effectively what that is it's twice the fee and the reviews are done in half the time. In this case, we did all these reviews internally, so we did not contract out with a third party, so there was not an outside cost to us. So what that means is we still collected our regular fees, and because we had the staff capacity, we're able to go ahead and expedite that. So effectively what this does is it gives them the reimbursement back because they did pay for that. It gives them the reimbursement back for that that portion that was expedited.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Second question. One of the things, and I've shared this with the city manager, and he'll probably answer the question as well, is, I was expecting, because of the metal building and our design guidelines, that it would come back before us for some type of an approval, either through a PAD and et cetera. And for some reason, apparently, there's something within the code that allowed that to happen without coming back before us. My question is, and I've shared this with the city manager, is with the metal buildings, if there's something already in our code, what's to keep such proliferation, say at Bullard and McDowell, or Bullard and Van Buren, or down Bullard, since there's nothing that has to come, or I don't know of any process that requires our signing off for that not to happen. So again, I will direct it back to the city manager to see if we're looking at ways, because that's my biggest concern overall, is where the buildings end up.
Yes, Mayor and Vice Mayor Pizzillo, I'll answer portions of that, and certainly we have planning staff here as well. First part of that is our I-2 zoning does allow for metal buildings. This is a PAD, and it does have some I-2 portion, or I-2 representations in there. But one of the things we want to make sure is that in the fall, we will be coming before council with zoning ordinance that will really start to prescribe what kind of building standards do we want in certain areas. We can do overlays, for example, in areas on airport, for example, more hangars, but that will really be policy direction by council to talk about the material types, whether it's metal, where it's masonry, whatever, but that will be before council as part of a zoning ordinance update this fall. And if you want to, and right now you're limited in, for example, I-1, commercial, some of those types of things. But it does give council a chance to really have that debate on metal buildings. But currently it's allowed in I-2. This one is a PAD with some I-2 components to it. And we can certainly follow up on this specific instance if council would like.
Again, Mayor, my only concern is that there's not a way of interpreting something within our code that allows it to proliferate. That's kind of my concern, and if it's limited to, or that discussion happens in November to maybe lock some of that down, I would be receptive to that, because, again, as you know, my biggest concern is proliferation of any type of metal buildings throughout the city, so.
And I can understand that, Joe, and I think you brought up a fine point, but I do remember all of us seeing the plans of this building, and all of us had a word about what we thought of it and didn't think of it. So it wasn't like we didn't have the opportunity. We were given an opportunity to see this, but I think you have a fine point there about one thing is what's written and how we follow it. So
And I agree. For the record, I'm probably the only outlier, but I was not pleased
Yes.
with the building. So.
And I wasn't going to bring that up. You
But
did
I
that,
will,
that you
so.
did not like the building from the beginning, but that's okay. We all have our private tastes. There's nothing wrong with that. So, any other discussion?
I have a
Councilman Stipp.
Oh, go ahead and do council.
That's all right. I called you. Go ahead.
All right. I believe it was in your presentation, so I'm going to ask
Well, I think we have it up now, so we can.
well, I'm not going to make you go through it again, but
Okay.
ask questions that I don't recall hearing in your oral arguments. Anyway, we're calling this a job creation agreement. And in the staff report, you talk about the potential for up to 265 total positions at Cookson, 140 of which will come from their existing location in the city of Phoenix, correct?
Correct.
Make sure I'm reading this correctly. And as we're required to do, we did a financial impact study on this by the ESI Corporation. The thing that caught my eye, and these things are always very interesting, but the direct and indirect economic impacts are always, I think an economist's best guess. But in reality, though, the first, between the construction sales tax, the personal property tax, and real property tax, those are real dollars that we can actually point to in a spreadsheet. that will generate about $311,000. Is that, have I read this correctly?
That is the estimate, yes.
Okay, so by us essentially giving back the $150,000 for the job creation, we'll realize $311,000, so it's a net for us of the balance. Is that,
Yeah, Mayor and Councilmember Stipp, that is correct. Every time we look at one of these agreements, we look at what those direct revenues are. We know that there's going to be other economic impacts, and sometimes those are very significant, and they're not necessarily direct in terms of those direct revenues you can calculate, but when you create a company that creates several hundred jobs, individuals move to your community, those are impacts that are not there, or in terms of the direct, but those become direct to the city, but we're not measuring those. So in a very conservative way, yes, we look at that and make sure that we don't extend beyond what those direct revenues are. But there are other direct revenues that come to the city, but they're hard to identify.
okay, so then my next question is regarding the requirement for them to provide, when they bring these folks in from the other, from the rest of their company, there's a provision in here that requires 80% of those stays to be here within the city as well?
Yes, Mayor and Councilmember Stipp, if you're talking about the hotel room nights, is that what you're
Yes,
referring
hotel
to?
room nights,
Yes.
that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, so we require a budget from them as to what their hotel room nights are going to be associated with this project over the term of that agreement. And we will need to see, when they ask for reimbursement, we'll need to see what they have actually who they've contracted with and for what amount.
And I think that gets to my last point. We're not simply authorizing a writing of a check for $150,000. There's a certain amount of follow-up that goes behind this.
There's a certain amount of follow-up that goes behind it. In addition to that, there's also clawbacks. If they don't perform, you can tell it's performance-based. If they don't perform in the manner that's prescribed in that agreement, then there's a reimbursement that comes back to the city.
Great, thanks.
Councilman Campbell.
Well, Harry, this might not be a fair question, and if you don't know, it's okay. Do you know when they're going to have the building finished?
Mayor and
Roughly.
Councilmember Campbell, yeah, they expect to be operational late this fall.
Late this fall?
Yeah.
I'm
You been by
anxious-
there? Because they're
Oh, I'm
framed out.
going
yeah.
there all the time. I
Yeah.
want to know what the dips are.
The dips.
You know, when you look, there's two big holes.
Right there along Litchfield Road.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are some retention basins, actually, in which they're going to plant above and beyond what's required in terms of trees. So that will kind of give a park effect over time as those trees grow along Litchfield Road. I
It's
think it'll
very
be-
impressive because it's so big, and I'm anxious to see it finished.
We all are,
If
yes.
it looks like the rendering and the drawings, it's going to be lovely. Sorry,
Other
Joe.
questions?
No, that's it.
Well, and you did hit lightly on shovel-ready. So could you just kind of elaborate a little bit more on that? So the water line had to come through. So the land around there and what that means to the public.
It means a great deal. We often use a general term called shovel-ready to talk about basic infrastructure that's brought to a site. When we're competing with other communities for these types of companies, one of the first things that companies do is they look at sites to see how prepared they are. And often what happens is a company is required to bear that total cost. We're fortunate in this case where a developer owned other property in the area and was willing to put forth, we say 1.2 million, they'll tell you it's significantly more than that because they ran into some headaches as they went through and did this, but they were required to bring a water line south of the railroad tracks, so they had to bore under the railroad tracks from MC 85 all the way up to Litchfield Road and then also a portion of Yuma Road to make sure that loop was completed. That opens up new development at a much lower cost to development on the east and west side of Litchfield Road. So those right there adjacent to the airport as well as on the east side of Litchfield Road where Cookson's going. So that really helps us and puts us in a better position. The next time a company comes and wants to know if a site is shovel-ready, the major infrastructure is done, they just tie into that infrastructure.
And I think during the downturn, I remember that the federal government came out with programs for cities if they had shovel-ready. Unfortunately, we didn't have that many shovel-ready. Yes.
Yes, and Mayor, Harry, I was going to ask if you could forward the slide twice because it really brings into focus pictorially the site you're talking about and how much land this can open up for additional
Thank you.
development.
Thank you.
That's for the public.
So can you kind of sort of describe this to the public?
Sure. You see where Cookson Door is at, they'll take approximately 15 acres, of which they'll probably, their first phase will be operating on about 12 acres. Just north of that's about another, I think, 10 acres, in which another company could locate. And then on the west side, actually this slide's a little off, but on the west side,
Whoops.
yeah, on the west side there, just south of where those ponds are at, there's about another 26 acres there that's available. That's also in our military reuse zone because it already has those benefits there for companies that are qualified under aviation aerospace standards. So we think that makes that site very marketable.
I think very positive reinforcement that we'll get some other companies coming very soon. So thank you. Any other questions for Harry? All right, thank you.
Just one joke.
Yeah, Joe?
Just for
Vice Mayor?
clarification, yeah. My problem's not with the financials, and again, as Councilmember Stipp meant, and the cost, as far as reimbursement, that's not costing us anything because we used our staff time. My concern is overall the process in metal buildings, on how that works, and that we don't have a window in which somebody else can put somewhere else in the center part of the city as a result of not having those checks and balances when those get built. And I always thought it was coming back before us as because of the, design guidelines, that it had to be part of a PAD that the city was voting on, and that was kind of my concern. And if it's not that, then maybe there's wiggle room for others to put them in other parts of the city. So I appreciate the fact they're coming back to talk about that later, and that's what my issue was, not on the dollars and cents, but on that piece. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All discussion finished? All right. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Holman?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Let's go to 7.4, business item to adopt the Transportation Master Plan, and Luke Albert, City Traffic Engineer, to present.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Luke Albert, City Traffic Engineer, and tonight I'm also joined in the audience by HDR engineering staff members Michael LaBianca, Laura Patey, and Faisal Chowdhury. And tonight I'm requesting your approval of the city's Transportation Master Plan. This project began 18 months ago, and shown on this slide is a timeline for the project with some key milestones. These milestones include 5 meetings with the General Plan Transportation Subcommittee, and also a participation at the General Plan open houses in February of 2013. In addition, we held a public meeting for this project in February of 2014, and we also have had 2 City Council work session presentations in January of 2014, and most recently in May of 2014 to present the draft plan. Shown on this slide are the recommended roadway improvement projects. That includes 32 intersection improvements, 28 roadway widenings, and 12 miles of new roadways. And these projects are consistent with the adopted IIP, the Infrastructure Improvement Plan, and also the city's CIP as well. And many of these projects are also development-driven and may be funded by private development. This slide shows the recommended transit improvements, which includes expansions of some existing service. Also, we've identified some new bus service, and that purple area on the slide shows a proposed area for a potential neighborhood circulator route. And also, towards the bottom of the slide is a proposed commuter rail along MC85 in that rail corridor there. This graphic shows the non-motorized improvement recommendations, and it's a combination of recommendations from the Transportation Master Plan and also the Parks Master Plan and the associated coordination between those plans. One key feature of the plan is the proposed non-motorized focused arterial, which is a public street with several different modes of non-motorized transportation all in the same corridor. In addition, we have recommended multi-use paths, bike lanes, trails, and also it identifies the crossings of these facilities with city streets and whether they're at grade or grade separated crossings. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Does anyone from the audience would like to speak? Okay, will the city clerk please read resolution by title only?
Adopt Resolution 14-1640, adopting the City of Goodyear Transportation Master Plan.
Thank you. Could I please have a motion, a second?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Stipp and a second by Councilman Osborne. Open for council discussion. Councilman Stipp.
Luke, I know there's several members of the planning team here tonight. Is that
We have members of the consulting team that work on the project here tonight.
It's been a extremely long process for us all, and I just wanted to compliment you and the entire team for working on a project that, you know, will have significant impacts on this community as we go forward. Much like the general plan, this is a huge project and process for us, so I want to compliment you and the team for the work that you did. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
appreciation.
both. Let's have the team stand up. Do you mind? The people that worked on this, please stand. Okay, thank you very, very much. Councilman Osborne.
Well, Luke, thank you very much, and I really echo what Bill had stated earlier, and we appreciate all the hard work. I wish I had $292 million to be able to hand over to you to get it all done before the 20 years that we're looking at. But just one thing that I really would like to stress, and it kind of goes back to what I heard the mayor of Oklahoma City say this last year, and that was that Oklahoma City had been built perfectly for the car. And they had the best transportation circulation possible, but they were the fattest people in the nation. And they had to turn their city around to be the fittest. And so I just want to make sure that as we continue going forward, that we always look at putting those pathways and those bikeways and those non-motorized areas that you can as we continue the 5, the 10, and the 20-year process. Thank you.
Councilman Campbell.
Well, I'll be in Oklahoma City on Friday, and I'm going to
ride
check it
your
out. I appreciate this. It is a blueprint for us to move forward. It's not actually what we have to do, but it gives us a wonderful footprint to try to figure out how we can best serve our residents. And I appreciate the breadth of it. I was not familiar with a previous transportation master plan. I'm not sure we had one. If we did, I wasn't as involved as I was this time. And I do thank you for not only addressing the paths and the bicycles, but also just the general way that we want to move our residents. And we all want more bus service. We don't have it. We want to be able to go places and not use our cars. I'm not one for walking much, to be honest. If I walk, I'm walking at 5:30 in the morning because it's too hot. I will not bicycle because it's too hot, but then I'm a wimp, and I understand that. But thank you all very much. I know it's been very difficult, and we appreciate you giving us something that we will be able to work with in the years to come.
Councilman Holman.
I wondered if there was any discussion about you making some areas of the cities available for golf carts. Has that been anything that was part of your
Session, I brought that up, yeah.
I'm talking about as they develop the plan, and if so, what because I don't see anything referencing that or in there.
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Holman, there was some discussion in the work session we had in May on the subject. The golf cars.
Excuse me, could you talk a little
Sorry,
louder? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, we had we did have some discussion in the work session. The golf cars or neighborhood electric vehicles must be street legal and travel on corridors that are, I believe it's posted less than 35 miles per hour. So I know that has presented some challenges, certainly on the arterial streets here in Goodyear. We definitely did have that discussion through the project.
That given, is there a reason why there isn't anything reflected in the final document?
We don't have any specific recommendations in the document. I guess for one, there really wasn't any. There's very little interest from the community in the neighborhood electric vehicles when we presented it. We had the public open houses for the plan. But we certainly could in the future.
The time was really brought up was about the shopping center.
Yeah.
And getting
Bullard
people
Wash.
from Pebble Creek and Bullard Wash, and we looked into it, city manager addressed it because it was looked into, and I remember Gary Gelser, remember, we had long discussions with Gary on this, so, go ahead.
Yes, Mayor, specific to the point on golf carts from Pebble Creek to the regional mall, the planned regional mall, we did actually look and had an engineered route that could work. It required access across the bridge over the irrigation canal and also access into Pebble Creek. The challenges at that time were a couple. One is we could get it onto public streets, those in a subdivision that those posted speed limits were 25 miles an hour, so we could actually get them into the mall. Challenge was there was cost involved in the part of into the Robeson development, and also there were some security challenges as well, because if people can go in or out of Pebble Creek and to the mall, anyone can also go the other direction back into Pebble Creek, and that is a gated community. So there were several issues associated with it. There were also costs that would not have been borne by the city because it was on off of our city property, if you will, into the private Robeson development. So it didn't go any further. Obviously, the mall's not in place today, but that was studied, and we actually had an engineering firm take a look at how we could make that happen.
And actually, also, there was a question on the number of parking spaces at the shopping center. So the same way, and where they would park, and that became also somewhat of an issue.
Correct. They were concerned about the golf carts competing with larger cars, and also the mall developer was not interested in giving the golf carts preferential parking places, like closer to the opening of the store ingress, egress. So those were some of the issues.
And the other thing that was discussed, to be honest with you, the 35 miles an hour speed limit going down the roads and the golf carts and the danger of it. And of course, they'd all have to have license, because a lot of those people don't have license in their golf carts. So there were a number of those issues. Not that it's not that it can't be challenged again. I mean,
Well, I just was disappointed because I know there are communities that have been very successful. You know, they had to change some of the state law in California to make it happen. But that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. It isn't a viable and a progressive thing to look at. And I just wondered if the discussion was held with any vigor. Because like I said, I happen to have visited a couple of those communities, and it's pretty cool.
Any other discussion? Councilman Campo?
Mine really is kind of geared towards Chief. We do have a lot of folks that are driving their golf carts on our sidewalks up and down Litchfield Road. And I'm not sure that that's good. I'm sorry, Indian School, excuse me, Indian School on both sides. And I'm not sure that that's the right thing to do, but there's a lot of golf cart movement, and it's not necessarily where they should be driving.
Well, that's why you look into making it legal and safe.
I had one question I did present to the city manager this morning is, I understand that we applied at one time for the bicycle-friendly community designation, and we were denied. And my question was to him, okay, if we were denied, what were we denied upon? Do we have any record of that so that we would know what we had to work towards? And it may be something that'll be way down the line. I mean, but it would be nice just to know how close we came or what it was. That was it's just information, not another project for staff to get on. So I'm not saying this for staff to listen to and go back and say, okay, we're going to work. It was just that I don't know where that information would be and how we'd archive it. I mean,
Yes, Mayor, specific to that point, we'll go back and find out how we stacked up. We were talking this morning about it's very prescribed how you go through that process of getting termed bicycle friendly. So it's a series of checklists that you go through to actually do that. And that includes a number of bike stores, for example, in your community, how many bike lanes. It goes on and on. So yes, we could absolutely provide that to council.
actually, I suppose we as council, we could just Google League of American Bicyclists, and probably we could get the information without staff having to go to that extent. So I think we're all capable. We could do that.
Mayor, that's absolutely. In talking, though, and I'm going to just look over at Katie, she just rattled off several of the components required to be bicycle friendly. So it'd be our privilege to provide that to council because it is not that hard to do. What may be harder is going back into the archives and find out how much we missed it by. So that one we'll just at least take a look at if we can get it readily. But nonetheless, we'll get you the other information.
I was just surprised that we even went for it at one time. So that was,
When did we do that?
well, I don't know the date, but in the records it showed, and I think it was when Mayor
Mid-2000s,
Kavanaugh
I wanna say.
was in office, so it had to be during that time, and I don't know if it was while I was councilperson, and I just was unaware that we did that, so,
Maybe they were
anyway.
trying to do it in conjunction with the All-America City or something.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
so, but I was on that team and I never heard it. So, okay, we ready? Is everybody done? Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Holman?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
All right, let's go on to 7.5, is to adopt the City of Goodyear's Park, Recreation, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan. Nathan Torres, Parks and Recreation Director, to present.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, Chair Jen Sylvester, Vice Chair John Richardson, Commissioners Nicole Baumgart, Brian Murphy, Mike Padilla, Karen Peters, and I believe Chair Jen Sylvester and Vice Chair John Richardson, as well as Commissioner Mike Padilla, are in attendance tonight. But on their behalf, we're excited to recommend the Parks, Recreation, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan for council adoption this evening. This comprehensive plan offers strategies and operational policies that will allow us to meet the needs of our current and future residents. This plan will be a living document and will provide us with the operational framework to propel us forward. Mayor and Council, we have talked about the perfect Goodyear and what that perfect Goodyear looks like. It looks like a city that is thriving in its economic development pursuits. It's clean, safe, and attractive. It's a healthy and active community. It's a community that provides opportunities for residents to interact and gather while building a sense of community and a sense of belonging and community pride. When you picture perfect Goodyear, you must consider the essential role that your Parks and Recreation Department plays in bringing this mission or this vision to fruition. We are economic vitality. We make our city a desirable place to live, work, and play. We not only help retain business and local and residents, but we help recruit the same. We enhance the quality of life through our facilities, programs, and services. We build community. You heard earlier, 81% of those that participated in this past season's Little League have established relationships that they will spend time with outside of the program going forward. So we build community. In order to reach the perfect Goodyear, we need the perfect plan. And I'm very proud to say, Mayor and Council, that we have the perfect plan before you this evening. I'd like to give credit to our team of experts who are consultants that worked on the plan with us. Over 100 years combined professional experience in the industry. Second to none. Principal Leslie Dornsfield, Kim Ballard, our recreation expert, Jim Kaufman, our trails guru, and Rick Merritt, financials, with Elliott and Pollock. A great team of experts working on this plan.
I'm going to stop you right there because I'd like him to stand so that, because, and recognize tonight.
They are here.
I know, they're right there. I see that. Thank you so much.
So tonight culminates 18 months of planning. Community meetings, public meetings, surveys, site visits, meetings, focus groups with stakeholders, and of course, the 11 vigorous work sessions with our Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. I'd like to have them stand in for a round of applause as well. The plan is in line with the city's strategic plan. You just heard the Transportation Master Plan. We're aligned with that plan as well, and as well as the Goodyear General Plan 2025. So what did we hear? And this goes back to the Community Livability Report. We continue to hear that Parks and Recreation are top funding priorities for our residents. Other feedback we received was that the lack of parks and recreation facilities and opportunities is one of the major problems facing the city today, and this is coming from our residents' point of view. The smaller tot lots and neighborhood parks are not addressing the needs of our residents. Residents are forced to seek recreational opportunities outside of the city. You've seen these before. This is a summary of key recommendations. Key recommendations in the short term. The first is to adopt park standards for not only public parks that we build, but also private parks. One thing we heard, a reoccurring theme in this process, was that the tot lots and neighborhood parks aren't meeting the needs of our residents. So this fixes that. This will basically, we've done a good job of requiring open space from developers. What this does is it provides us the opportunity to basically define what that open space is and what amenities go into them. We're excited about that change. It will require public trails and paths identified in the plan be constructed by private development when they exist within that development or adjacent to it. It also calls for us to explore current master plans of our current park system. We all know some of the challenges with some of our parks. Most recently, we had a discussion with Portales Park. And beautiful park, but it is lacking opportunities for us to utilize that park. There's no parking, there's zero access to and from the Ramadas, and you know this park well. So the plan recognizes that there's opportunities within our existing system to have remaster planned and look to see if we can meet some of the needs within our current system going forward. The plan calls for to establish an annual $250,000 capital reserve fund to ensure that our parks are performing at that 90% level that we talked about previously. Again, our goal is to have all of our parks in our system performing at that 90%. And you're already doing this along with some of the allocation that you've made and provided us in the CIP. Some of the midterm recommendations: build a recreation center, build 2 community parks, 30 acres each, and of course the trails. Build trails in Bullard Wash. These are some of the latest revisions that were incorporated into the plan since posting it for public comment, both to our residents as well as the development community. The first item is work with Maricopa County to assure alignment of the Maricopa Trail along Yuma Road from Goodyear's western boundary to Bullard Wash South to the Gila. This is a unique opportunity for us to connect to a trail countywide system with Maricopa County. It's a big move for us, and we're excited about that opportunity. The next change is, we heard from the development community. We had a path that was aligned with along the 303 originally. The development community felt that that was unsafe and would make it difficult for intersections and interchange between cars and people on paths and trails. We went ahead and realigned that trail from the 303 to the east side of Citrus. And again, that was in response to some of the feedback we received from the development community. And the third change that you haven't seen yet is the plan identifies a potential wellness park opportunity, basically the north side of I-10 between 145th Avenue and Dysart, and recommends that we work with some of the private health care providers in the area to develop a wellness park. Could be CTCA, could be Banner Health. When you think of a wellness park opportunity, opportunities for not only to engage in physical activity, but also mental health as well. So we're excited about that opportunity. You'll see that located there on the map. The funding picture, $32 million for the midterm through 2023. I can tell you that you've already have allocated dollars in the current CIP budget for the community center and for community park over the next 10 years. And that will leave us about $13 million shy for another community park and a swimming pool. But the good news is we're headed in the right direction. The plan identifies the needs. It also identifies opportunities for future funding that we'll explore with you in the future. As I said earlier, this will be a living document. Your approval tonight will integrate this plan into many facets of our operation. In particular, it will be embedded and integrated into our park's strategic and operational plan. It will launch department-wide and citywide coordination efforts with development services, engineering, and finance to make sure that we are implementing the policies that are in the plan. It will launch opportunities for partnerships with Maricopa County, school districts, private stakeholders, and of course our residents. And of course, it will be linked to performance measures and priority-based budgeting. The main point I want to emphasize here is that this will not be a plan that will sit on a shelf, and you will see me walking around with this plan on a daily basis, guaranteed. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Thank you very much. Your beginning presentation was a real salesman job of the pictures. I think if I were if I were a visitor in Goodyear, I'd say, I'm going to buy in Goodyear. It was really well done, so I
Bring your
just have
friends.
to comment on that. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody from the audience like to speak? Then will the city clerk please read the resolution by title only, please?
Adopt Resolution 14-1646, adopting the City of Goodyear Parks, Recreation, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan of July 2014.
Thank you. Could I hear a motion, a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Campbell and a second by Councilman Stipp. Open for council discussion. Councilman Osborne.
Well, you know I'm excited about this. But I would like to say, I think what makes me feel that this is actually going to happen is your last slide, what I would call the power wheel, and showing how everybody is in concert together. And I really think that, you know, everyone's heard what the citizens want and have said, but now there's a true plan and a way that it will be orchestrated. So besides the fact that you need $77 million,
By the way, huh?
you know, that's, we'll work it out with the transportation plan. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Councilman Campbell.
I just want to thank you, Nathan, and everyone who worked on this plan. This was so exciting and fun. It was wonderful to go out to the community and to talk to our residents and to listen to what they had to say. and they're excited as we are, but it's so wonderful that we now have a blueprint to go by. We have something that we can look at, and we have something we know we can achieve. Maybe not now, but we know it's there, and I just want to thank you again. Your love for Parks and Rec is very evident.
Councilman Holman?
You know, Nathan, that I fully support what we're doing. I believe the parks, I believe they're needed. I think it's like human nature. They're part of human nature. It's a real need. But I did have just a point that I kind of want to clarify, and I think you'll agree with me, about neighborhood parks and tot lots. They are addressing needs in the city of Goodyear. They're just not fulfilling all the needs. And so I just wanted to clarify that, because I think it's so important that we do acknowledge that those neighborhood parks are fulfilling, or are addressing a need in our community. I feel that very deep in my heart, Nathan.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Holman, you're absolutely correct. And I think we can do an even better job at it.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilman Stipp?
Once again, Nathan, we can't do anything without these master plans. So the resident team that we had to work on it, I see all the smiling faces out there. We are just so blessed with a great community that wants to come out and work on these projects and do these things for us. I finished a project with a community in another state not too long ago that has no master plan for their transportation, no master plan for their parks, no community general plan, and the place is an absolute disaster. And they're serving about 110,000 people. So the fact that we've recognized that, thanks to the city manager and the staff, that that we need these things to move forward is, it all gets to, and while I appreciated your great Goodyear statement, it's not just the parks thing that's making us great, it's all of it. And I think that's the one thing that we all can rally behind, is we want a great Goodyear. So thanks for doing that.
Well, lastly, I'd like to say, I think the best move we made is when we decided to have a Parks and Recreation Director and department. I think that was the big move that Goodyear made. And for a long time, the different councils weren't sure they wanted to do that. But I think that's the first really significant move that is making, is the reason this is happening. And I just want to thank the team. It's a great plan. I'm excited about it. And so we'll work hard in the city to hopefully raise the revenue as we go along to be able to pay for some of these things. And I know it's positive because the citizens want it, and that's bottom line. Thank you. All right, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Holman?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
All right, let's go to 7.6, to approve the contract for public art at the Goodyear Branch Library. Guyleen Oslonsky, Arts and Culture Coordinator, to present.
Can't use the word great. Took them all up.
All right, I'm going to make sure I scratch all this. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Guyleen Oslansky, Arts and Culture Coordinator, and tonight I'm seeking approval of the artist contract with the New Media Public Art Collective for public art at the Goodyear Branch Library. This project is important because it ties into the vision and direction of public art for the city. This identifies our city as being a progressive community that values the arts. It also ties in with our general plan, where we found that fostering public art within our community and increasing access to public art is important to the city. And art and culture enhancements, they create a more socially connected community. They beautify our public spaces, they instill civic pride. So I quickly wanted to go through the selection process for this. And the first thing was to identify the library as a site for public art. And so through the Arts and Culture Strategic Plan, the library was identified for this piece because of the 10,000 visitors that they're seeing approximately every month through there. They have a circulation of 20,000 items. The next step we went to is a selection panel, and this selection panel was comprised of arts and culture commissioners, city staff, as well as arts professionals. And this process was handled through our Office of Procurement, and it was a competitively bid process. The New Media Public Art Collective was selected from 10 Arizona artists, and we went to the Arts and Culture Commission, as outlined by ordinance, to have the artwork approved by them. And at their general meeting on July 10th, they voted unanimously for this artist and the artwork. The final step in this process is to come before council and ask for council's approval of the contract with New Media. Okay, so the project it includes sculptural social seating. It's going to have shade awnings. It will have nighttime lighting, and it's going to encourage year-round use. And what I found really great about this proposal they have for this project is it integrates with the complex architecture, but it also enhances the building. It really defines this area of the complex as a part of the library, and so it really sets it up for people to identify with that space being the library. It's also going to promote interaction with the sculptural seating and the shade awnings and with the lighting that will be attached to it. So a little bit about New Media Public Art Collective. It's a group of 7 professionals that have 12 years of public art experience. And in their 12 years, they've created 19 very successful site-specific projects. And a key feature to their work is that they take the passive observer of art and they bring them into the art, which really, makes them an active participant in the piece. The timeline that we're proposing is that through months 1 through 3 would be the design phase. Fabrication would happen in months 4 through 6, and we have a proposed installation date of January 2015. So in closing, I'm just asking that you approve of the artist contract with New Media Public Art Collective to design, fabricate, and install original public artwork at the library. This artwork will beautify and enhance the entrance. It'll create a point of destination and encourage social interactions, and it's going to provide additional area for us to program with small performances, reading groups, and meetings. And that concludes my presentation. I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Guylaine. Great presentation. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Does anyone in the audience like to speak? Could I please now have a motion, a second, to approve the artist contract 14-2970 with the New Media Public Art Collective, not to exceed $65,000, to design, fabricate, and install the original public artwork at the Goodyear Municipal Complex, Building C, at the main entrance of the Goodyear branch. Do I hear a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Holman and a second by Councilman Osborne. Open for public discussion, open for council discussion, excuse me. Vice Mayor?
First, I want to thank Guylaine for the high energy that you bring to the department. I've had an opportunity to work on a couple things with you as far as art and as far as rating the art, I guess as part of the judges, and you always have that energy that you bring to the city, and I really appreciate that. I'm not an artist by nature, obviously I'm a numbers guy, but again, anything that breaks up the squares and the blocks, adds a little, definition, I like. So I'm in favor. Thank you.
Councilman Stipp?
There's something about the things that you schedule in my schedule, I've not been able to get to the last few of them, so I sincerely apologize for that. And I, too, support what we're doing. And I saw this and really like the way that it looks. I do have to ask one extremely in-the-weeds question, though. All I think about when I see this is what a blast this is going to be for the skateboarders. So tell me how we're going to keep them from destroying this piece of art that we're going to put in front of the library.
Mayor,
Other than that, I think it's awesome.
Mayor, Councilmember Stipp, I think that that's a really good point that you bring up. Because of the area and the way the area is defined, a skateboarder is not going to be able to get a lot of inertia to jump up there and be able to ride those, where if we were in a very large plaza area, I think that that would be something we would address and we'd be concerned about that. But with the site art itself, I don't think that's going to be a concern.
Is there a lot of rocks in that area? Is that what I'm seeing?
Right now, yes, that is a gravel area.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for
Welcome.
even paying attention to that.
Councilman Campbell?
My question is, has this firm done other artwork in the Phoenix area? Are they a local firm?
Yes, they are. Our eligibility for this project was they had to be an Arizona artist. They're out of St. David, Arizona.
Where's that?
It's southeastern part of Arizona, and so up Tucson, or down Tucson direction, I should say. And so yes, they have some projects local in the valley, but they also have projects internationally. They have some in Italy. I'm thinking there's one in Turkey. They have projects throughout the nation as well. They do quite a bit in Glendale on some temporary exhibits too that you can see.
Okay, my only concern was with the shade structure, whatever. Since you told me that they are local Arizona, they know what our monsoons and our microbursts will do.
They
So-
do. And the great thing about this group is that with their 7 professionals, they have an electrical engineer, they have 2 architects that are on their project team, they have a concrete artist, and so they're very familiar with these materials, and they're very familiar with our harsh desert climate.
Mayor, perhaps we could do something to the front of City Hall with them someday. It's a
Oh,
shade structure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The suggestion was that possibility that, we've been pursuing our city hall to do some type of upgrade and
And art.
signs and artwork. So Councilman Campbell was recommending maybe
Maybe
this
look
might
at
be,
this.
so.
It could be another art piece.
We're just passing some information on to you.
Mayor and Councilmember Campbell, do you want to give them an update to the extent
Yes,
possible?
it was so funny, because
On
today I
City
thought
Hall.
about it. I had it on my list today, and I never asked the question, what happened to the front
Mayor,
of City Hall?
Councilmember Campbell, we are looking at City Hall to do an aesthetic enhancement, include some public art, work on the signage in front of there. There will be an RFQ going out for an artist for that. There is a selection team that has been together to start discussing the important key elements that we want included in that, and so we will keep you updated as it moves forward. But that is our next project that we'll be moving into, so we will be able to address that.
Will we have a say-so in what it looks like, or is the committee doing it?
The committee is putting together key features that have come from comments that I believe Mayor and Council has shared, with city staff has shared. That'll go out, and that'll be part of an RFQ. And then there'll be a pool of artists that will come in, and it'll go to the procurement process just as this did. And then we'll look at those artists to make a selection.
Okay? Yes, Councilman Stipp.
Means, but okay.
We're talking about artwork in front of City Hall, is that?
Just now.
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Stipp, we're talking about City Hall right
No,
now.
I got that.
Okay.
We're going to do the artwork before we do the front signage, is that what I'm?
No,
is that what I'm-
it's all combination.
Tell me it's all in one.
I think it's,
Yes.
It is all going to be in one piece so that it's a cohesive appearance, so that it all goes
Okay.
together and ties in as one.
Perfect, thanks.
You're welcome.
see what happens. Okay, are we ready for a council vote? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
So information items are on to council. Do you have anything you want to talk about tonight? No, we're all set? Oh,
I just was going to tell you.
Councilman Osborne.
We've had, over the last couple years, the concerns of what our state legislature has put on us, concerns of what the national level puts on us. And we got some good news that I had just received from the National League of Cities, from my steering committee, and that was the fact that the cities and towns won a victory at the national level, and that was the passage of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. So in case you didn't know about that, that's where those funds will continue to go to the cities and not to the state. So I just thought I would let you know that, because I just received
Great.
it today, so.
Thank you. Any other comments? Then the city manager, you have the floor.
Mayor and Council, I'll be brief. I just want to say thank you to Mayor and Council. This is our last council meeting for what I call it the year. We have a 5-week break, so we start again on August 18th. But I just have to tell you, there've been a lot that has been visited by council. All these master plans that we've talked about, the budget, it has been a grind and a push. So thank you very much for all your support and reading through the details and being prepared. It really helps us out. And also like to thank staff for as well. I think they're ready for a little bit of a break as well. We're not closing City Hall. We're just not having council meetings. But again, thank you, and thank you to staff for all their hard work this past cycle.
You're not going to address anything on that other issue we talked about this morning?
Oh, no, I think under the circumstances, I'm not
Okay,
with
all
the
right.
audience.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that. Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, now, before I adjourn this, you know we have a special meeting, so we'll be here for a little bit longer. But the future meetings, of course, oh, isn't that nice? We're on council vacation. I just want to wish you all a great time off, and I want to thank you, really, I want to thank this council for all your contributions and your patience, and you know, we're very outspoken with each other, and you know your mayor is, and I really appreciate your tolerance. And I do agree with the city manager. I think we really have done it's been a great year. And staff, thank you. And thank you for your patience of sitting out in the audience every Monday night and thinking, are they ever going to be quiet so we can go home and stop asking the question? But we do generally appreciate this. But a reminder that we will be back 8/18. All right, that was when we'll have our regular meeting after our break. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and then